They were, again, just magic together. And that was a skill both of them had. They could react, and they just meshed together. And that's their story. They may have sat and concocted anything. I have no idea, because I didn't ask them. I didn't want to. I just watched.
And both have the ability to be entertainers, but also so explosive in the
Turn
ring.
it up and have credibility. That's another thing. It's having credibility in the ring. You can, and I'd like to think that I fall into that. You can be doing the silliest and most comedic of things 1 second, but bang, and when you go, people buy into what you're doing. That is another level of a completely different level of ability, and that usually only comes from life and struggles, I think.
That's a good point. And also ability, because, you know, that Bob Holly match, his first match when you're reacting, Taijiri, I don't know, as a fan, has anybody ever had more effective or more credible looking kicks ever than Taijiri? And your reaction when you saw him kick Bob Holly in the head was our reaction.
Bob's such a pro as well. Bob's a really good pro, and Bob's a believable. He's believable, right? Because he is. And Bob's a really good. So that made it even better, because you've got a fella who's just no backing down, and you believe in him. You believe Bob Holly is beating the life out of people.
He's a badass, yeah, for
real.
Yeah.
Without question. And then to have Taijiri, that's what made that, is because they're both how good they were as professionals. But but if you can get Bob Holly to, that people actually think he's in jeopardy, there's a lot to be learned from that. We haven't got time to just break that down, but think about that. There's a guy that is a really tough guy that's known for being tough and being physical. And then a fella looks like Taijiri comes along, and by the end of it, what happened? I'll let you say.
Right. And it worked to get Taijiri to be credible, but also but Taijiri has to be credible enough for Bob Holly to want to give that to him too, right?
Right. So everything accomplished.
And
there's another thing. Go back, if you want to try and figure this job out. There's little things like that. How did that work? You bringing that up is a good learning lesson for people. How did that work? If you might not, again, if you're 25 or 20 now trying to come into wrestling, this is, I don't expect you to know anything about me. And I hope if Bob hears this, not anything away. Bob, our time has changed. It's different. This is 20 years ago. But Bob had credibility, incredible credibility, and he was a physical guy, a physical wrestler. People knew that he wasn't a mess about kind of a person. At the end of that, Taijiri come out golden. How did that work?
And Bob was not the worse for wear.
No, absolutely not. So how did that work? Go and put your brains around that, and maybe you can take something out of it.